Light on.
You can. It's actually a really good video right now. Oh, for the just like, yeah, sure. Turn the light on by all means. All right.
Just wanted to see the color of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's working well. Do you mind if I feel your belly while we're waiting?
Go for it.
That looks good.
Around 6:30 or so, hour and a half ago, I had a little more, just tenderness, kind of like a little cramping feeling. I did get up and managed to get a little bit of output out of the rectum, and it was just a little bit, and mostly just bloody mucus. But yeah.
Belly feels better to me than on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
So are we just trying to figure out what the story is with the ileus? Why did my small intestine just decide to kind of take a break?
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Often.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by it. It's always nice when it doesn't happen, but a third of the time it happens.
Is it strange that I got small bowel function immediately following surgery, and then we ended up with the ileus?
No, because you still have some function. You've always had some output.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you didn't have, and there's no way to predict this. You just didn't have enough function to stay ahead of what you were putting in your mouth. So like if you have a bucket and you have a hole in the bottom, if you pour more in than leaves the hole, the bucket's going to fill up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you had a hole that wasn't putting out as much as stuff was going in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the beginning, we were filling out the bucket, you were putting stuff out, and we think, oh, okay, things are going well. But it took a couple days for that bucket to start overflowing.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And does it sound like just trying to be on rest is the standard care for this?
Time. There's been a bunch of studies trying to identify something that speeds up the resolution of ileus. And there's no good consensus that anything does it besides time, walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Some people advocate chewing gum. That's been shown to help in some studies, not to help in other studies.
Mm-hmm.
So really just time and moving around.
Have we seen in any x-rays or anything where in the small intestine is not doing its job?
So all the small intestine upstream from where that stoma is dilated, and even some of the intestine downstream is dilated.
What does that mean?
That means pretty much all the small intestine was dilated, which is a consistent finding with ileus.
So it's like relaxed and not...
Right.
Okay.
So there's no one focal point. That would be an obstruction.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have an obstruction. It was just everything was kind of asleep and dilated.
You just need everything to basically perk up and start doing its thing again.
And that's why the suction decompresses that intestine, allows it to be less dilated. Once it's less dilated, the nerves work better at getting that muscle wall movement going again.
Do you know anything about acupressure for that area? Is that anything that Mayo Clinic looks into?
No, most, and I will say most of what we do is stuff that is evidence-based in well-respected scientific communities.
Mm-hmm.
So if we haven't adopted it, it's probably because there hasn't been substantial good evidence for it yet. That's not to say that it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pretend to have an insight into everything going on that works.
Sure.
But
any medicines that tend to trigger and re-stimulate the small intestine?
there's one called alvimipam. which if you give before surgery and after surgery, it may have some benefit, but it only works well if you have given it before surgery. And even then, it doesn't work well.
Okay. So we're pretty much just hanging tight until anything changes, huh?
Just time and walking.
So I came in on Friday throwing up, probably with this kind of in process. So I suspect over Friday and maybe Saturday, it's been actually a decrease in small bowel function. Would you agree with that? It seems like I was getting more blacker stuff. Now it's a little lighter, browner output of my stoma. And I just don't know. We're looking for that to turn around and start.
So the color of what's coming out of there right now is perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm happy with that. I think we just have to keep decompressing you until this amount that's coming out of your NG tube decreases and gets a little more clear. Right now it's still pretty bilious, meaning it's soaking up things that have backed up. So I think your intestines just got dilated. We got to spend some time sucking stuff out and letting them get back to normal caliber and start working more.
Okay.
I've seen an Ileus last like 2.5 weeks. That won't be the case with you. That was like an 80-year-old guy.
What are you expecting from me if I came in on Friday throwing up?
Wednesday?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So once we start seeing more bowel function, then what are the steps of what I'm looking forward to, like getting the tube out, getting to drink things and such?
So once you have some more bowel function, once the amount of the tube is less, and once the tube character is more clear, then we'll talk about clamping the end of that tube and seeing how your body tolerates pushing stuff through on its own rather than getting it sucked out. If it tolerates that well, we'll take the tube out. If you still feel okay, we'll give you some liquids for a day and see how you do. If you still feel good the next day and you're not more distended, you're not nauseated, we'll give you solid food.
Okay. That's probably not today, though. We'll see.
Do what?
Do you think anything's going to change in that process today?
No. Today, what we do is anytime that sucks out 4 liters in a 24-hour period, things still need to decompress. So we're still in that decompression phase.
Okay. You think walking is the only thing I can proactively be doing, really?
Yes.
Well, how much walking is appropriate?
There's no set limit. I would say walk 30 or 40 times around the pod. You know what I mean?
I call them laps. I've done 7 so far.
Yeah. I would say 30 and 40 in a day. You can do.
If I can hang my head on that, then I would say I'm doing my job of it.
Oh, you're doing your job. The biggest thing here is going to be time.
Okay.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Of course. Sorry you're dealing with this part. This is the anxious part that I would be impatient for. You know.